favorite beverage, and she brought the career advice. Now sit back and relax while you get advice that will take you to the next destination in your career or business. And now, Katrina Brittingham. Hello, hello, hello. I am Katrina Brittingham, and my lovely co-host, Dr. The Real Deal Love, and this
Hello.
is the love portion that we have the first Monday of every month. So my
Wow.
co-host will be taking the reins, and I will just be, you know, giving my little opinion and 2 cents.
You'll be jumping in and out. That's always a good thing.
It is. So I'm
Yes,
gonna
indeed.
sit back and let him do what he does. I always do a lot of talking. Um, this is the opportunity for those who are in career and you're looking for love as well, whether you're a business owner, corporate professional. As we know, sometimes it can be a little difficult to balance both. And we have our resident expert who is here to give you nuggets of wisdom along the way.
All right, boy, that is great. How was your day today, Miss Katrina?
It was fantabulous.
Great, great. That's a good thing. It's always good to have a great day. And the
Yes.
weather, how was the weather out there?
It was interesting because
Interesting.
we had sun that poked through the clouds, and then we had rain, and I think it's still raining now.
Okay,
Hmm.
okay, okay, okay. Well, you missed it. Today in Philadelphia, we had 77.
Ah,
77. Can you
amazing.
imagine that?
I cannot.
March the 7th, 77 degrees. A beautiful day.
So that means you're going to have 110 in June.
In June, exactly. And then we'll drop back down to 21. You know, weather goes up and down, and I always say this to people. They said, "Did you hear about the weather?" I said, "I don't care what the weather does, as long as I'm alive to see it."
Yeah, yeah,
You know,
definitely, definitely,
most
definitely.
important, most important.
Hmm.
Okay, well, let's get into our show tonight. I had a great day today as well. Listeners, I hope you had a great day today. We'd like to finish your day with an evening of love. And I had such an interesting conversation today with a colleague, and we were talking about a few things. And then, for some reason, you can have a conversation, and somehow it almost, not always, but always gets about around to love, relationships. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
How good they are, how bad they are, or the lack thereof. You know.
Hmm.
So, just a great topic. And then I had a great question that came in. So, it's a lot. I have a lot here in front of me that because I was just writing and taking notes. But the foundation of our conversation tonight um, revolves around the psychology of love.
Hmm.
You know, and the reason I thought that was so interesting because a woman wrote in and asked me a question because I am a woman's relationship empowerment coach. That's what I
Hmm.
am.
Hmm.
And I rescue men by empowering women. I rescue men by empowering women. And this lady wrote in and asked me, she said, Dr. Love, why don't you empower men to understand women to help transform the relationship into a healthy place of love?
Hmm.
Okay. Why don't you empower men to understand women better to help transform the relationship into a healthy place of love? And that was a good question. I get such good questions, from listeners and some of my colleagues. And I just thought that was a great question because it really, one, it helps me to really see where women are, where men are, or where women aren't, and where men are not.
Mm-hmm.
Because one of the things that I think is important when we talk about the psychology, I wrote this down that it's important. It's important for us to understand the psychology behind the image that our women have of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's important to understand the psychology of the image that our women have of themselves because each group of women, has a different image of herself and
Mm-hmm.
the psychology behind the image that she has. Okay. So our women, there's a psychology that's behind our women, and the title that so many of our women have is the angry black woman. That's a title that that's placed on our women. Today, I was talking to a Jewish woman, and the psychology behind the image that she has. Now, I thought it was so interesting because she was telling me, when we started talking, we were talking about business and a few other things, and then she said, "Yes, Dr. Love, my marriage." She said, "I was married for 8 years," and she said, "Oh, I mean, it was a nightmare." She said it was a nightmare, and she said, "I really didn't know what to do." She said, "I wanted to get out. I didn't know how to get out." She said, "I talked to my rabbi, and I just I can't do it. I just can't do it." And when I heard that, I said, "See, now that's a whole different perspective because each ethnic group of women, based on the psychology behind the image that she has of herself, equips her for how she handles the relationship, how she handles herself. Because my goal is to make sure that every woman enters into a successful relationship with herself first,
Mm-hmm.
okay, and then her man. It has to happen just like that, okay, because there's a psychology here. And the
Mm-hmm.
psychology, so the psychology here is this particular woman asked me. She said, why don't you empower men? Okay, why don't you empower men? So I figured I would use this analogy, and Miss Katrina, you tell me if it's a good one, and you let me know what it is. To ask me why don't I empower men? We're going to just go with that. It's like asking why why doesn't the moon give the sun more light?
Hmm.
Why doesn't the moon give the sun more light? And I'm quite sure you understand where the light comes from.
Right. The sun is the
Okay.
source.
Okay. So the moon can't add any light to the sun because the sun is the source.
Right.
Okay. Most women do not understand this statement that I'm about to make, and that is this: the relationship between the man and the woman is 100% about the woman.
But see,
100%.
I have to stop you there because that is powerful, but it's not what women are taught.
Okay.
They're taught, and we're taught that it's that the man has the power, um, and that because they're the ones who choose us. Seriously,
Hmm. Hmm.
they're the ones who choose us. Um, and that's why there's all these things about how to get a man, how to get him to want to marry you, and we went through this before in other segments about even when it came to age. Oh, once
Hmm.
you're a certain age, then you're not um, as desirable as a younger woman.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, and so, it's always a thing of how to get a man, where if even if you look at it biblically, it says, "He that findeth a wife findeth a good thing and obtain favor from the Lord."
Hmm.
So there are blessings that come with finding the man, finding
Hmm.
the woman, the
Hmm.
man, you know, um, seeing the value.
Hmm.
But the way society has taught us is that um, they have that power,
Hmm.
um, over um, us, and then we have to do all of these things to attract.
Hmm.
Where the man being a provider, he's the one that is supposed to have these things to be desirable to us.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
um, because again, yes, we were made for man. Man came, was here first. We were
Hmm.
made for them, so we were the gift to them.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
so, but that's not necessarily what is presented out in society. And think about it. Look at the shows that you see, and things that are in the media about um, us as women.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
And I think that's where the question comes about, well, why not teach a man, about a woman, about a woman's value,
Hmm. Hmm.
about the fact that um, that woman is a blessing to you.
Hmm.
There are some things that inherently comes from God, specifically because you have this, as the Bible says, help me
Hmm. Hmm.
in your life.
Hmm.
That adds value to your life. Um, and I'm going to stop there, but I had to put
Oh,
that
that
in there.
that was such a great uh, uh, observation that you made. Now, here's what I wanted to share. Here's what I wanted to share, and listeners and ladies, this is what I want you to really understand. What you just said, you said that it's taught that men have the power. That's absolutely true. Why we don't teach men? She said, why don't we? Remember, her question was, why don't we empower men? Men are already empowered. What men need is direction of power. You see?
Hmm. Hmm.
When you get your home wired, or when with the electricity. I always like to use this analogy because I thought it was so interesting when it comes down to your electric bill. Most of us, when we have our electric bill and we pay our electric bill, we don't really know what we're paying for. And I said that I said this before, but that's how you really start to hear, learn, and then internalize. Okay,
Hmm.
because
Hmm.
when you're paying your electric bill, what you're paying for, since we don't have time, and you'll be telling me soon, we're halfway through. I got to make sure I get it in there. What you're paying for is, you're not paying for anything other than to be connected. That's what you're paying for.
Right.
See,
Hmm. Hmm.
you're paying to be connected. See, when you pay to be connected, now you have the option to use it.
Hmm.
You see, you follow what I'm saying? See,
Hmm.
if you're not connected, to hit a light switch, it ain't even an option for you because you ain't connected. You see,
Hmm.
but because you have been connected, you have not. They've not disconnected your power. Now you have the option to use it or not.
Right.
You see, that's your option. You could
Right.
go away on vacation and you could stay for an entire month. You're still going to have a bill. It's not going to be high in the usage column, but it's going to be high, it's still going to be a cost to be connected because we
Mhm.
kept you connected for the entire period of time.
Exactly.
You understand what I'm saying? See, so when we start talking about empower the man, he's already empowered. What he needs is
Mhm.
just like electricity, he needs to be directed.
Right.
You see, and
On
that
usage.
do you understand what I'm saying? Do you see?
Mhm.
He's got to be directed on usage. See, and see that's what that means. When I hit the light switch, this is such a great analogy. I'm thinking, I'm getting excited about it. You can hit your light switch and you can have a dimmer on the light switch. You say, I want the light on, but I don't want it as high and bright as I normally have it.
Mhm.
So I'm going to dim it down some because I want the mood to be a little tranquil. I want it to be a little peaceful. You see usage?
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
see, you follow what I'm saying?
Mhm. Mhm.
See, so when we start talking about the psychology behind the image, um, I was realizing it's important. It's important for us to begin to. For me, this is where my work is to begin. Is to begin to disconnect our women from the continual programming of society.
Mhm.
You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying?
Mhm.
just the just the bombardment of society because see when it just like we said we keep talking about society. Have you
Mhm.
noticed when your electric bill comes it doesn't come in the name of society?
Right.
When you get your gas bill it's not for society, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
You get your gas bill it got your name on it. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
You got to pay it. You follow what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? But we're still being empowered, indoctrinated, you know what I'm saying, impressed with the so-called uh, understanding of how society sees the man or how
Mhm.
society sees the woman. You see,
Mhm.
that is so important to get behind that because on one side, when it comes down to men, I happen to be a man that I think something of myself. And when I walk down the street, uh, I want people to say, "Good morning, Mr. Johnson. Good morning, Ed. Good morning, Doc." I want my children to respect me. I don't want to be a man that's considered to be a player and a lover.
Mhm.
That's not
Mhm.
what I want. You know what I'm saying? See, you know, if a man goes to bed, I said that to make this statement. If a man sleeps with 10 women or 15 women, he's called a lover.
Mhm.
You know, a woman says, "Oh, I slept with 20 men." You did? Oh, she's a whore. All the negative names they can give
Mhm.
her, and it's like, okay, he slept with 10, she slept with 10. What is the difference?
Exactly.
What is the difference? You see?
Exactly. And you made some good points that I wanted to talk about because when you talk about having the power, the person in power is the leader. And yes, the man is supposed to be a leader, but
Mm-hmm.
how are you leading?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that's what um, needs to be um, addressed, and that you, as the person following the leader, you do have a say um, in that relationship. And if the person does not want to listen, just like if you're in a job,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because we're connecting all of this to like business, and these are
Yes.
business women.
It is.
If
It's
you
the
have
business. It's the business of love.
right, and if you have a manager or leader who does not listen, even to the detriment of the department, you'll start to see a falling away of employees.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And this is the should be the same when it comes to a relationship. If
Mhm.
this person is not leading or leading you in the wrong path, then you do have the option to terminate your relationship. You have the
Mhm.
option
Mhm.
to terminate, um, I don't want to say employment because you're not employed per se, but you terminate your employment,
Mhm.
or find another job, go under a different manager or leader. So
Mhm.
you
Mhm.
have that same option,
Mhm.
when it comes to relationships. You don't have to just accept what is given to you.
Mhm.
Also, when you were saying that, a man can do this, he's considered a lover. But another thing is he's still considered a man.
Mhm.
They'll still be like, oh, that man, or it'll be say, oh, well, he's just a man
Mhm.
when that stuff happens.
Mhm.
But when a woman in the same context, um, they're known as anything but a woman or a lady. They're called all kinds of horrible things.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, in that context, like the value of them goes down.
Mhm.
And so is number one a thing of balancing that out, because everyone, number one, has a past. And maybe I don't have the same count as you.
Mhm.
Maybe it's lesser, maybe it's more, and everything like that. But it's a thing. I feel like on both sides it's a thing of quality,
Mhm. Mhm.
quality and character,
Mhm.
quality and how you're conducting yourself, how you treat people, having those strong boundaries, um, of not just taking anything, and that a man and a woman is different. Like I don't
Mhm.
have to be you. If I was you, then I would be a man. I
Mhm.
am different.
Mhm.
Um, I see the world different. I view the world different.
Mhm.
And part of having that helpmate, the whole thing is the help is to have that different point of view,
Mhm. Mhm.
and everything, so that things can be balanced.
Mhm.
There is a balance in everything. It shouldn't be tipped to one side or tipped to another,
Mhm.
and everything. Um, you know, Even with the context of that, the man is the final decision maker, but it's like at least consider and take some opinion
Mhm.
of
Mhm.
it. And this is just dealing with different types of men, because all men are not like that,
No.
and everything like that. Um, so it's just like um, having those conversations, and getting that perspective, um,
Mhm.
getting out of the status quo of what everybody else, or what you think everyone else is doing, because a lot of times people think everyone is doing a certain thing, but what's going on in your household is not necessarily the same thing that's going on in somebody else's.
Mhm.
And you brought up the thing of self-love, and I think that's what's lost, because it's like, oh, this person makes me whole, this person completes me. But in this sense is like you can't be 50% of a person and that other person be 50% of the person.
Mhm.
You have to be 100%, and the other person has to be 100% to work together. Yes,
Mhm.
when you come together, you become one,
Mhm.
in a sense, but you should be 100%, because if you don't love yourself properly, and this is for a man or a woman, then you can't properly give out the love to another person because you
Mhm.
don't have it fully in yourself.
Mhm. Yeah. You know, it was such a good point, and that you made. And here's just to dive just a little bit further into what we were talking about, disconnecting from society. Now, the example I gave with the the men, the man being the lover, the woman being the, in relationships and in a successful relationship, uh, we're taught this. That's one of the things that Bob Proctor said he learned from Earl Nightingale. It was like He said, stop fighting an existing reality.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Stop fighting an existing reality and create a new model.
Mm-hmm.
So, in other words, society says if a man does this, he does this. If a woman does this, he does that. Okay, so now in when a man and woman comes together, let's just get society out of this.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just ask you, Katrina, how many men do you want to sleep with?
Right.
Dr. Love, Dr. Love, how many women do you want to sleep with? You understand? See, now we just see, we had the conversation. The conversation, we could talk about everything, society, the world. Or he slept with one, she slept with 10. He slept, Will Chamberlain
Mm-hmm.
wrote a book a while ago. You mean he's old? He said he slept with 1,000 women. Okay, okay, and what? You know what I'm saying? And what? Okay. What is that about? So now, when we talk about stop fighting an existing reality and create a new model, now we're talking about closing the door. What do we want to create?
Mm-hmm.
You follow what I'm saying? See, so when we start talking about balancing the scale or balancing things out, see, as you said, you don't have to be 100% when we come together.
Mm-hmm.
This is real important. You can be a fragmented person. She can be a fragmented person because we all have some past. Like you said, we all have some baggage. We all have some faults and some shortcomings. We all have some bad habits. Okay. The question is, are you committed to your bad habits?
That's interesting. Because when I was saying 100%, I wasn't referring to it as not having any faults.
Mm-hmm.
I was saying it as far as loving yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't love yourself, then how do you know how to love?
Mm-hmm.
Because you're not doing that proper love of yourself. So it's not a
Right.
thing of um not of being perfect. 'Cause nobody's perfect.
Right.
No, nobody. No, nobody. If they say they are, they're lying.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's
Mm-hmm.
perfect. And like you said, everyone has a past and things like that.
Right.
But a big key in relationships, and I've counseled folk myself in um, my ministries and everything like that. But a key when relationships fall apart, a lot of them is that they didn't have that proper love for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to have, at least you have to have that. That's the key,
Mm-hmm.
regardless of your faults and things like that, and the things that you have to work on and things like that. And like you said, the commitment to having a perfectly imperfect person
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
in your life.
Mm-hmm. And see the thing, and the thing about it, we weren't talking about in terms of 100%. Uh, when you talked about um, the man being the leader,
Hmm.
see, there's two questions, and I cross it over, but this came as a result of a woman. I was at an event, and I came outside, and a woman said to me, she said, "Hey, Dr. Love." I said, "Yes." She said, "What would you say to a woman like me, a single woman like me?" And I said, "How old are you?" I think she was in her 20s, 24, 20 something, you know what I'm saying? She was in college. And this is where this came from. And this is a part of my curriculum. And this is what I really teach. And then I transferred it, to men and women. But it came to me that night I was talking with her. I said, there's two questions, the two most important questions that a woman can ask herself. The two most important questions. Number one is, what will she spend her life doing?
Hmm.
Number one. See, that's the first and most important question. What will you spend your life doing? And number two is, who will you spend your life with?
Hmm.
Okay. Two most important questions. Nothing on earth is going to affect your life as the answer of those two questions.
Exactly.
Okay, those are the two. So, having said that, when we talk about the man leading, see, we have to make sure she understands that he's leading himself when they first come together. He ain't leading nobody at the he ain't leading nobody at the door. You know what I'm saying? You know, the only thing he's in the door doing is talking some stuff, showing me some stuff, and you know what I'm saying, and getting me to the point where I begin to take a look at how well he's leading himself. See, that's the question.
Exactly.
What will you spend your life doing? That's the first question.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I said it came to me that night when I was talking with her, but that's for the man as well, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what you're looking at. What
Mm-hmm.
what did he decide he's going to spend his life doing? And that's the
Mm-hmm.
question that you have to ask him. What did you decide you want to spend your life doing? And this is how the conversation should go. He says, I am a I'm a writer. I'm a writer. Oh, you're a writer. So really? He says, is that what you dreamed of doing? So you got to go back into that. Is that
Mm-hmm.
what you dreamed of doing? Then he says, no, I really wanted to be a doctor, but I was such a good writer and da 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 da. Now, see, now you got to begin to understand if he dreamt of being a doctor and he settled for being a writer, you've got to understand that this man could possibly bring settling into your life
Mm-hmm.
because he settled for less than he was supposed to get in his life. You follow what I'm saying? See, so if he couldn't keep himself on if he couldn't keep himself on task to be a doctor, then he's not going to be qualified to keep the relationship on task as you begin to progress.
And I
You
might have
see,
to stop that because we are at the half,
I knew you were
actually
going to
over
say
the half.
that.
But you were saying such good points that I just wanted you to finish that thought. But we are going to take a 30-second break and then we're going to come back to this wonderful conversation.
We'll be back.
The business and entrepreneurial world is full of talk. Talk, 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 talk. Enough. We take everything you've learned, leverage it, and give you the actual tools you need to put all the talk into your walk. Attend the conference that's all about action, strategies, and real ROI. Your executive GPS ticket includes access to seminars and workshops where you'll learn business financing, such as loans, grants, venture capital, and angel investors. Business strategies, human capital strategies, such as hiring contractors versus employees. Government contracts. Register today. www.theexecutivegps.com.
And we are back.
We're back.
There, we were talking about the business strategies for that and also the business of love. We also went into what are you going to do for your life? And that's the question, or what did you dream of? What was your dream,
Hmm.
um, for your career?
Hmm.
I wanted to put this out here because things do happen and people do change directions.
Hmm.
So when you're asking that question, you may have to go into a little bit more depth. I dreamed of being a doctor,
Hmm.
but I found that I was a better writer. I found I was a better writer in school. That person may have flunked out of medicine and just may not have had it. Because a lot of times it's the question that you ask children, what do I want to be when I grow up? And you have someone, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a lawyer, I want to be a firefighter. But then as you go through school, you realize that some people, no matter what they say they want to be, they may not actually have known truly they had a thought of this is what I want it to be. But then when they got in there and they started doing the studies, it was like, oh, wait a minute, here's this area that I didn't realize I had,
Mhm.
and everything like that. And this is actually what drives me and my passion.
Mhm.
That's different than if, as Dr. Love pointed out, that they don't finish something just because they just don't finish it.
Mhm.
So I don't want people to have that, like, what did you want to be? What was your dream? And then
Mhm.
someone says, because you can have somebody like Les Brown. He didn't start out a motivational speaker, he was something
Mhm.
else. But then he found this thing that drove him, that was his passion.
Mhm.
Now this man is multi-million dollar.
Mhm.
So you can't throw out the baby with the bathwater, as they say. And
Mhm.
sometimes you do have to give more potent questions. Because
Mhm.
case in point, and I laugh at that. It's funny that you pointed out doctor. I wanted to be a doctor.
Mhm.
I spent from elementary school up to high school and even college going to that. And
Mhm.
I was talking to someone about this earlier, where I took all my biology classes. I was an inner city school kid, and we had biology, but we didn't have the clear cut thing that you're supposed to have when you're going into biology, and that's dissection.
Mhm.
I took all of my electives prior to, because I wanted to focus on my major. That's just the stuff that I've always done. Because I was like, all right, I'm in a major. I want to focus on that. I don't want to take literature while I'm trying to take science at the same time.
Mhm.
And I walked into that biology class the first day, and they pulled no punches. You were sitting there, and in front of each desk was a fetal pig that they
Mhm.
had in formaldehyde. And it's like, all right, cut this pig open.
Mhm.
That
Mhm.
was the day that I thank God that I skipped breakfast,
Mhm.
because if I had not, breakfast would have been on that table.
Mhm. Mhm.
I tried
Mhm.
it several times to go back in. I had to drop the class because, whereas it sounds great to be a doctor and cut that open, I did not have the stomach for the squishy gushy stuff. But
Mhm.
I had a capacity and a passion for business and technology and those things, had a very analytical mind, which they told me was great for the sciences and medical. Um, but I found another way and was successful in that. So what in doing that, evaluate the person on, okay, I had to switch gears, but how successful was it?
Mhm.
If every week or every month or every year they have a different passion and a different job, and they don't have any stability, that's what you're looking at. Not
Mhm.
necessarily that somebody had a dream in the beginning and they, for whatever reason, had to switch gears.
Mhm. Yeah.
So I
Now,
just
see,
wanted to clarify
that's good because the Bible says a wise man will change, but a fool will never change. Okay.
exactly.
So we use that example because we want to encourage you and empower you to listen at what I'm about to say. To have your hand, your mind, and your heart at the pulse of the individual.
Exactly.
Okay. You've got to have your hand. See, the lady I was talking to today, she said it was a marriage from hell. Well, it
Mm-hmm.
didn't start out. It didn't start out that way. See, you know,
It
I,
never
I,
does.
I tell the story of my mother because, you know, you know, she was the one that really just, when I look back as a little boy, she was the one just really empowering me just to kind of like work with women. I've always, her and my godmother, two powerful women. I was raised with five sisters. I have three daughters. I've worked, just always around women and just having your hand at the pulse of what's really going on here
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
when he walks into my life. Okay, one of the things that's so important, and this is why I do what I do. uh my aunt Loretta, who has gone on to be with the Lord, just a wonderful girl. And if you're around Dr. Love, you'll hear me talk about my aunt Loretta. She quite a gal, you know what I'm saying. She ain't
Mm-hmm.
bite her tongue. But one of the things that happened to my aunt Loretta is she's an educated woman, had her master's degree, and she met her husband, and he wasn't finished medical school.
Mm-hmm.
So she was like, "I will work while you finish medical school."
Mm-hmm.
Now this is straight from Dr. Love. I would have a fit. This is my program. This is where I work. I would have a fit if my daughter worked while her husband or the man that she was going to marry went through medical school. My position is he's got to finish medical school on his own before you jump in. Okay? Because the lady asked me that question. She said, uh, she was like, you got to help men, and we, that's a whole nother show when you talked about, and the Lord said, and I will give you a help meet
Mm-hmm.
to help you, someone to help you meet your highest potential.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You see? So she's like, well, Dr. Love, when do you jump in and help him? You don't have to jump in and help him. You have to inspire him.
Mm-hmm.
He has within him to help himself.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? See, so for her to jump in while he went to medical school, and you know what happened? Became a doctor, very successful, excellent practice, ran off with the nurse, left Mount Loretta.
Mm.
See what I'm saying? And I'm not, by no means am I saying anything happens across the board. I'm setting the foundation
Mm-hmm.
for when a woman comes into a man's life and a man comes into a woman's life, you have to understand how well are you leading yourself in your life before I even have a question whether or not you're going to be capable, qualified, sensitive enough, dedicated enough, with enough insight and
Mm-hmm.
enough wisdom to govern. When we come together, it's not just me and you, it's our family, it's everybody, it's the kids
Right.
when they come,
Right.
it's
Right.
everybody.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And that's what you're asking him. I have 5 children, and my children, every last one of them, I was just talking to my son yesterday, and he was just he said I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Why? Because the children are saying, Dad, can I trust you with my life? This is my
Mm-hmm.
life here.
Mm-hmm.
You see? See, that's what the woman is asking the man. Can I trust you with my life?
Absolutely.
I'm talking, this is my life. We're not talking about, I can't take an eraser and erase the pain. I can't erase the fact that you slept around. I can't erase that.
Mm-hmm.
Can I trust you with my life?
Mm-hmm.
It's my life that we're talking about. It's the children's life we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
because it's that serious, we can't play games at the very start of it.
Absolutely.
Okay. We can't
Mm-hmm.
we can't play games. And if we don't have trust, if I don't trust you, we don't have nothing.
Absolutely.
We don't have nothing, because a relationship, and I say this all the time, a relationship, whether or not it's business, whether or not it's a job, whether or not it's a career, no matter if it's love, no matter what it is, every relationship has a basic fundamental ingredient, and that ingredient is trust.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Every relationship.
Absolutely. And so when you have that um for that foundation, and when it comes to you know with the career and everything like that, and the things that um you're asking
Mm-hmm.
one another,
Mm-hmm.
and everything like that, um is to get that basis,
Mm-hmm.
um to come together and to say, okay, this is the thing, you know, because it is a life.
Mhm.
You're this is the thing for a lifetime.
Mhm. Mhm.
How are you going to handle life?
Mhm.
Or and that's why I was like with the questions of, all right, you switch careers, but why did you switch them?
Because it
Right?
could be okay. It could be a good switch, as you pointed out. It could be a great switch.
Exactly. Exactly. Why did you switch? How many times did you switch? When
Yes.
was the last time of your switch?
Are you gonna switch again? Are you gonna switch again?
Right, exactly. Exactly.
Mhm. Mhm.
And everything like that, because it goes to um how the person makes decisions.
Mhm.
And when it comes to your career, that is a major um decision making factor in your life,
Mhm.
and is going to be with the trajectory of where you go.
Mhm.
And so then it's like, okay, so I see how you made this decision here.
Mhm.
So, and I know your rationale, because number one, too, you want to know how that person thinks.
Mhm.
What are their critical thinking skills?
Mhm. Mhm.
What are the bases by which you made this decision?
Mhm. Mhm.
And what are the end results of that decision?
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
Was that truly the best decision, or was it an easy way out? Was it the cop out
Mhm. Mhm.
for that?
Mhm.
And you'll see the difference, because transition isn't easy. It's hard
Mhm.
and everything like that. So when you're transitioning, you're changing um, your way midway, and
Mhm.
this is when, even when I talk to people who are transitioning, it's not easy, because you're moving your life from one thing in one direction into another direction.
Mhm.
And have you thought it through? Have you prepared? Someone who's bouncing from place to place didn't prepare for it, didn't think it through, didn't, because everything seems easy to someone who's watching someone do it.
Mhm.
And I used to tell people, um, I make this look easy
Mhm.
because I had the years of experience
Mhm.
for it.
Mhm. Mhm.
So is easy to make things, or to look at someone and say, oh, that's easy. Their life was easy, and everything. But people don't know the work that went into it, the
Mhm.
work that still even constantly goes into it. And that is even with the thing with a relationship. It's not easy, and everything like that, but you make it
Mhm.
look easy.
Mhm.
So you make it look easy because you've put in the work.
You put in the work. You put in the work. That's important. And I wrote this down today because this is a business show, and we're talking. We happen to be talking about the business of love now, but just in business, Katrina, you talk about it all the time. The skill set.
Yes.
Do you possess the skill set for this job that you're asking for? You know what I'm saying? Whether or not, last week we were talking about all the computer programming and all the languages. Do you possess the skill set?
Mm-hmm.
You understand? And see, and that's what I really want uh, women to really understand is if he doesn't possess the skill set, if he doesn't possess the skill set, that's not the end. That's not the end of the game just yet. Here's the next question:
Mm-hmm.
are you interested in learning and developing the skill set? Okay, okay.
Right.
Are you interested in learning and developing? My grandson today, he just got. He was supposed to go. He was supposed to go into the Air Force a couple months ago, and his departure got postponed for whatever reason, and we were just like, I never heard of this. But today, he just got his papers. He just got his papers for move out day. I mean, this is the day that he's moving out. He just got the papers. You know what I'm saying? And today he signed the document. You know what I'm saying? To be enlisted and to move out April the 5th. That's his date. So what I want women to really understand and take away from this here is, do you possess the skill set?
Mm-hmm.
No, I do not. No problem. No problem. Are you interested in learning and developing the skill set? Yes, I am. Good. Now, like my grandson, you ain't signed on the line just yet. Okay, you ain't signed on the line. We ain't going down the aisle right now. You ain't going down the altar. We just have two people that has some type of mutual interest in each other.
Right.
Okay. The skill set, as I said with you, when do you jump in and help him? You don't need to jump in and help him. What you need to do is inspire him.
Exactly.
And if you inspire him, he will go get the skill set. You will go develop your skill set. You will bring your life experiences to the table. He will bring his life experiences to the table. And y'all will have a genuine, authentic exchange, because you both know, and this is what I always say, how to successfully create and enter a successful relationship. Before you can enter it, you have to know how to create it.
That is true. That is true. That is so true.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I always say. How to successfully create and enter into a successful relationship. And as we begin to look at the skill set and start developing those things, as my caller was talking today, in terms of empowering women, the focus is the woman, because the relationship is 100% about her. And then I'm just waiting for a woman to say to me, well, when does it become about him? I'm just waiting for, because I always make that statement. It's 100%, and I want to, every time I get a chance, I want to just keep getting that out there so women can just start internalizing and getting it, and then you'll have your questions for me. But the relationship is 100% about the woman, 100%. No, I don't back down. I don't change it. It's all about the woman. And then you may have a question for me.
Well, here's my question.
Yes.
100%.
Right.
Are you married?
Okay. For me, yes, I am.
Are you happily married?
Yes, I am.
And how long have you been happily married?
Oh Lord, my wife and I, we're celebrating 42 years.
42 years
42 years.
of a man who is married and happily married.
Mm-hmm. To one
Along
woman.
with him being to one woman.
all my children.
So the not only are you a skilled counselor when it comes to love, you're a practitioner of it too.
Mm.
So it's not that you're saying things and you're either not married or you've had 10 marriages.
Mm-hmm. That's important.
Very important.
Katrina, with us being songstress at heart, I think this is a good place for Mr. Barry White. You've been telling me this and telling me that. He said, but boy, you better practice what you preach, all right?
That's right. That's right. And
It's
that's why I
so
wanted to bring
important.
that out there.
Okay.
Because you do.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times, because you'll have these people who are supposedly gurus and everything, and then next thing you know, they're sitting on there with their wife, and or they're getting a divorce or whatever, and everything like that. And so this is experience in counseling, but it's also experience in the actual thing that you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
um and that's for myself, that's one of the things that I do, like for business. I don't speak on stuff that I didn't have experience in,
Mm-hmm.
you know um as far as when it comes to building a career.
Mm-hmm.
I've built mine. When it comes to building a business, I've built mine, and everything like that. So that's why, I speak on that as the expert for it. That's why you speak on it as the expert in it,
Mm-hmm.
because you've experienced it,
Experience.
and you
Mm-hmm.
have the years and years and years of experience in it. And so when you're saying these things, you're not just saying these things just because it may sound great.
Mm-hmm.
You were tested in it, you were tried in it, you were
Mm-hmm.
successful in it, and you have the testimonial of your wife, your children, because they all lived in a house with you,
Mm-hmm.
and everything like that, to know that this is what it is.
Mm.
And that is what overall makes the difference in that, and everything like that, is the fact that you, like you said, this works. It works because you've done it.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I even have you on the show to do the monthly thing, because you've done it. You have that, you can see the fruits of you actually doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
so that's a
Mm-hmm.
big thing for me, when you have people who um, say everything, because people can say whatever, but it's an action. And that's
Mm.
the thing, even with love, it is an action.
Ooh, 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 ooh.
It is
For,
an
G-
action.
for God so loved, he gave.
Yes. Yes.
For God so loved, he gave
Yes.
of himself.
Yes.
Of himself. See,
Selflessly.
see that, see that, see that's where it gets to be so unbalanced, because he so loved that he gave himself, and the only thing he's asking us is to live for him.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? we're
Mm-hmm.
asking we're asking our wives, we're asking our husband, we're not saying that you have to die for me, but we're asking you to live with me. I'm not saying argue and fight and continue the drama. I'm saying live with me.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? One of my favorite scriptures is John 10:10. He said, I came that you might have life. I don't want to be arguing all the time.
Yeah.
I don't want to be going through the drama all the time. Life is
Yes.
too short. I was in the market one day. A lady was with her husband, and he started getting on her about something small. She said, Henry, she said, life is too short
For all of this.
for all of this. Jesus. You understand what
My,
I'm saying?
my,
See,
my.
so that's the reason. That's the reason. We got to cut through the chase and get it, because as you grow, and I'm going to share this because, and I know we're running out of time, but I just said March is my month, and I'm taking this out of one of my mentors' page. He was being interviewed, and they said, they said, what about getting angry, and what about fighting? He said, I stopped getting angry. Did you stop getting angry? He said, I stopped getting angry. They said, why is that? He said, because it's a waste of energy.
Mm.
It's a waste of energy. So when you start thinking about growing, when we talk about skill set, when we talk about developing, I said, I'm going to stop getting angry. Why? Because, poor planning on your part, or something that you haven't grown into your part is not going to necessitate me moving into a frequency of being angry and misusing energy that I can't afford to expend on things that are not that important. It's not that important
Right.
for us to continue to go back and forth. You know, my wife,
Exactly.
my wife said to me the other day, she said, she said, "You just listening." I said, "That's all I'm doing is listening, honey."
Yes, 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 yes.
I'm gonna listen. You know, you ain't said nothing, and I ain't gonna.
Exactly. And that's an art and a skill too. Listen.
You're wise. You're wise. You're wise. The art of listening.
Yes. And as always, wonderful conversation, but we are at the top of the hour,
I knew you were
a
gonna
little
say
bit
that.
over.
You can count on Miss Katrina to keep me in line. We're at the bottom of the hour. We're past the top of the hour.
Well, because if I don't, I get the little coattail pulled by the engineer.
I
Um,
understand. I understand. I
so
understand.
we thank you so much for joining us and joining in the discussion. I see a little heart um, and everything in the corner. So people were enjoying this
Mm,
conversation, probably taking, oh, excuse me, some great tidbits um, of information to, go further and where they're, need to go.
mhm.
Um, and so I do thank you. I appreciate you so much. I appreciate the wisdom that you provide. I appreciate, just your experience and the fullness that you add to the show. Um, I'm always so grateful that you agreed to co-host with me. And I cannot wait until next month for our month topic, but we will be with you next week with the business topic. Well round, all
All the way
around.
around. All the way around. All the way around. Nothing missing, nothing broken.
Nothing missing, nothing broken.
That's right.
And we hope you had your favorite beverage. I had my, you know, little
Yes,
water
yes.
in
Yeah, I'm
here.
gonna get. I'm gonna do better. I'm gonna do better than this. I'm gonna do better. I'm gonna get my designer cup. Okay.
But thank you so much, everyone, and we will see you next week. Toodles.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Goodbye. Love you.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of High Tea with Me. To be a guest on the show, contact us via email info@ventureready.net. Thank you again, and see you next week.